We're on the phone today with legendary drummer Carmine Appice from Vanilla Fudge, King Cobra, a lot of other bands over the years, and now we're talking about the 25th anniversary of his Guitar Zeus album, and it's getting a re-release. Hey Carmine, how you doing today?
Hey Dustin, I'm good. Having a nice day here in Florida. It's beautiful out, and I already had some coffee and a little piece of sourdough toast, and I'm ready to rock.
Excellent. Well, we're in Minnesota here, so a little bit different than Florida, I'm sure, but I'm still...
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Awesome. Cool.
Well, I know it's the 25th anniversary of the Guitar Zeus albums. First of all, can you tell us a bit about the original ones, maybe if the listeners might have missed out on them?
Well, yeah, they came out in Europe and Japan, places like that, in 1995. 96, and at the time, grunge was king here in America, and I spent a lot of time in Japan and Asia during that time. So we just came up with the idea. I was working on a new band in 1992. I was trying to get another solo deal, which I had originally. I had one in 82, and in 92, I was still looking for a second album solo deal. I was playing with Jeff Watson. And Jeff Watson from Night Ranger came out of Night Ranger and gets a solo deal immediately. And I said, man, that's unbelievable. A guitar player comes out, gets a solo deal. A drummer comes out, and, it's a pain to try and get a solo deal, I said, what do I got to do, play guitar? And I said, maybe I'll do a guitar album. I'll call it Guitar Gods, and then we were screwing with the name Zeus. I said, no, I'll call it Guitar Zeus, meaning Guitar Gods, As I went to bed that night thinking about it, I said, wow, that's a really good idea. All I need to do is find somebody to organize it. I finally found a manager 2 years later to put the deal together. But in that interim of 2 years, I had talked to Ted Nugent and Brian May and the guys from King's X. I thought if I got those guys on it first, it would draw other people in. So I did that, and he got the deal, and it cost me $100,000 to do the first record, and different than today, where everybody does it at their house. I had to pay for a real studio, a real engineer, real mastering, real everything. And I did it, top of the line, paid everybody that wanted to get paid. Some people didn't get paid, and I owe them favors. But then when we released it in Japan, it went to number 3 in the Burn heavy rock charts. I did, a lot of promotion over there, and I went to Europe and did stuff in all over Germany and Paris and France and altogether I sold about 120,000 units around the world at that point, which wasn't huge at that point in time, but it was really good to get the thing going. Then I got a second album deal out of Japan, and I did another one, and that sold about another 80,000 around the world. So I did about 200,000 around the world, and I never released it here, I tried a couple of times, and labels went out of business, so they didn't. I didn't promote it. I even did it on my own label a few years ago, but I didn't really have lots of funds to promote it like we're doing now. And then I was talking with Deco Records and wanted to do something. They're doing my King Cobra live at Sweden Rock digitally, and I told them about Guitar Zeus. I said, I'm going to close my label. You guys interested? And they said, maybe we should do a 25-year anniversary box set. I said, well, let's do that. So here we are.
Awesome. Yeah, I know the list of people involved, really a who's who of musicians and guitarists. And, you've played with so many people in your career. I imagine it probably wasn't hard to pull in some favors of your own and get these guys on the album.
Yeah, it was. I mean, when I did Ingve, I went down to Florida. I was living in L.A., I took the 24-track tape with me and went to Florida, and he played on my record, and then I played on something of his, a record of his, I still owe Brian May and Richie Sambora favors, and then when we were putting this together, I said, look, there's 2 songs we never finished that I still have on 24-track, so we bounced those to digital and finished them. That was Mystified, which is the single, with the video, actually. I don't know if it's a single, but it's the first song off the album with the video. And we got Tommy Thayer from Kiss on that. And we got another song called Surrender, which I put this new kid on who plays like Eddie Van Halen. I could have called like Joe Bonamassa maybe, and got him on it and all that. But I didn't think about it. I just saw Joe. He's awesome. Boy, he's amazing. He's a good friend. I know him for a long time. I could have got Joe on probably, but I don't know. Maybe we'll try and do another one.
So was that basically the process of putting it together? Did you have to fly around with the tracks and meet the guys, or how did that work?
Some people. I did that with Ted, and Ted was a funny story because he's recording. He's got the guitar on. He's recording in the studio, and he's got a 38 in a holster in the back of his belt. I took a video of it. I have a video somewhere of that. It's pretty funny, But some people, we recorded them live, like we did Ash and Elliot Easton and Mick Mars, a few other people like that lived in L.A. We did them in the studio that we recorded all the tracks in, and we did them analog. And then some people like Brian May, we gave Brian the first choice of songs because he was one of the first ones to commit to doing it. And so I gave him like 5 songs to pick, and he picked Nobody Knew. And we sent him a 24-track tape, by FedEx. And we sent Steve Moss a tape. We sent Paul Gilbert a not a 24-track, like another like video audio cassette kind of program. ADAT, I think it was, or something, one of those things. And then some people that had studios received tapes or ADATs. It's at the time ADAT studios were the thing for musicians, And but we did a lot of them in the studio in LA. And then same thing with the second album. We did like Dweezil Zappa. We did Zakk Wylde in the studio for the second album. We did the Ty and Doug. And I went to see them the first time. For the first album, I went to Houston and got them in the studio. And then the second time we did them in LA in the studio. So it was a variation. But then I did Guitar Zeus Japan and Guitar Zeus Korea. So when I went to Japan to do, the guitarist in Japan, my engineer who now plays bass with Asia, and yes, Billy Sherwood, he was my engineer for these things. He said, look, you got those tapes, you can take 3 tapes, 24-track tapes, or you could take this D88 that sticks in your shirt pocket. So I said, okay, I'll take the D88. I didn't want to have to carry, 3 24-track machines, tapes around for the tape machines in Japan. So the D88 worked much better and much easier.
It's amazing to think how far we've come in 25 years. If you were doing this today, you wouldn't even have to leave your house or, change out of your pajamas. You could do the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, well, we did the new versions of the 2 new songs. The drums are already recorded, but any percussion, background vocals, or anything I wanted to do, and digitally we recorded Tommy Thayer, and we mixed it digitally, through the internet, and then we mastered it digitally through the internet. We mastered it back to analog after we, it was analog, and we bounced it to digital, finished it, mixed it, and then bounced it back to analog to keep that analog sound, And, we did that. I have a studio here in Florida. I did another album this year I released 2 months ago called Energy Overload, which is an instrumental rock album with a guy named Fernando Perdomo and myself. So it's called Appice Perdomo Project. And we got 2 videos on YouTube that we did in his studio in LA. And then, I've done, 2 or 3 videos in my studio with a green screen, like Mystified was on there. But on Energy Overload, I did the drums in my studio here. I recorded it. We did the whole thing back and forth through the internet, and we're getting rave reviews on it. People 5 out of 5, A+ reviews. One magazine did a review, said that it was the number 2 best album of 2021. I said, whoa, And it was funny on that album. It said engineered by Fernando Perdomo and Carmine Appice. I laughed at that, because now I'm an engineer. It's funny.
Well, again, it's the 25th anniversary of the Guitar Zeus albums. They're both together. You got the new tracks, and you got a lot of bundles with shirts and autographs. And
It comes with four LPs, 3 CDs, including some rough mixes that we did that we took home to listen to without any guitars. So it has me, Kelly Keeling, who played rhythm guitar and sang. We have me, Kelly Keeling, and Tony Franklin just playing the rhythm tracks. So any guitar player could play along with us, at home. And then there's one with the vocal if they want to sing harmonies with us or play guitar. So there's 3 of those tracks also, plus the booklet. And then that's the regular package. Then there's the bundle with a piece of jewelry, which is like a medallion that has my face logo on it, made of stainless steel with a black chain with a guitar Zeus pick on it. And then there's a T-shirt and an autographed picture. So that's the bundle. So there's 2 versions. And, it's a limited edition. There's only 1,000 of them for the whole world.
Well, I got to say, Carmine, with the Guitar Zeus albums and the Energy Overload just out also, and, Vanilla Fudge still going on, you got a lot of stuff on your plate these days.
Yeah. Look, I was never into sports, basketball or football, where everybody freaks out or, every Sunday they're watching football or basketball every night or whatever. My passion was music, playing, creating music. Even like I'm working on a new King Cobra record now for next year. And, and some people say, well, why even bother doing it? Nobody buys it like they used to. And, and you don't get paid crapola. By the time you're done with it, you're making 10 cents an hour, with the Spotify rates. But you know what? I just like to create music and create new music and go out and play it. And, tomorrow is my birthday. I'm 75 years old, and I'm still physically able to go out and play and kick butt. And, I do it whenever I can. I just got a new agent for me and my brother. We're going to be doing more shows next year. And, we're working on more tours for Vanilla Fudge. We've got some Cactus shows coming up. I just want to keep playing because, all the people that supported me all my life that want to see me play, I'm going to keep doing it until I can't do it anymore.
Awesome, man. And awesome news as well about King Cobra. That's another great band you were at the helm for. It'll be cool to see some new stuff from them as well.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like the 2 original guitar players didn't want to participate for the reasons I just told you. They said, it's too much work and nobody buys it, and there's no airplay and blah, blah, blah. I said, look, I'm just doing it for the legacy, to keep the King Cobra legacy going, because there's a great band. So they didn't want to do it. So I brought in Carlos Cavazo from Quiet Riot and Rowan Robinson, who played with Dio on the last Dio band. Played with my brother and Dio and everything. He's a great guitar player. And we got Johnny Rod, the original bass player, me, and Paul Shortino, who's been our singer since 2010. We did 2 other albums and a live record with him. And so we're working on it, and I got to say it's coming out great, fantastic. So I can't wait for it to be mixed and finished.
Well, speaking of some of those guys, I got to ask you, out of all the stuff you've been involved with over the years, I want to know some of your memories working on the Hearing Aid sessions. That was another crazy cast of musicians involved with that one.
Well, that was fun. I was out on the road with King Cobra when Ronnie did that. Ronnie, because my brother played with Ronnie. Ronnie really had no family, especially when him and Wendy broke up. So Ronnie was always involved in coming to like my family's Christmas parties and birthdays and Thanksgiving, and all that stuff. So we were really close to Ronnie. So when Ronnie did that thing, they definitely requested that I be in it. I was on the road. So my brother Vinny cut the tracks with Frankie Benelli, and then they flew me in, or I flew in. I think I flew in at my own expense. I was in the Midwest. So I flew back to L.A. to spend 2 or 3 days in the studio doing that. And at the time that We Were the World was big, with Michael Jackson and all that stuff. So this was like the heavy metal version of We Are the World. So, I definitely wanted to be involved in it because I've always been involved in different charities, and all that stuff. So in 1983, when I got fired from Ozzy, one of the reasons I got fired because I was doing master classes and getting a lot of press, and Sharon didn't like that. But those master classes, I gave, at the end of it, I gave $50,000 that year to UNICEF, and, I always like to be involved in charities and help people and all that. So I flew I don't know how long I flew. One day flying out there in the studio with them, doing that stuff. I sang on the background. I did an interview for the video. And then the next day I flew back. So it was 3 days of, luckily I had off on those 3 days, from playing gigs. But the rest of the King Cobra was out on the road.
Well, it's incredible, again, all the stuff you've done over your career, and you have been like the guy that you can trace all this, heavy music back to, I think, as far as drummers. So it's great that you mentioned you're still out there doing it, and you've got more projects in the works now than most people, probably a third of your age. So that's great.
Yeah, and next year is the 50th anniversary of my drum book, which I wrote a drum book in 1972 just for the hell of it. And that drum book has become like the book for rock drummers who want to play rock to learn from. I even gave a copy of this drum book through Gregory Peck, the actor. I gave it to Fred Astaire, and I got a letter back from Fred Astaire saying how he enjoyed my work many times and thank you for the book.
Wow.
And I couldn't believe it. I said, dude, I got a letter from Fred Astaire, with a beautiful handwriting. I got it framed in my studio. But when I went to, it was a reception for Rod Stewart's wedding I went to, and Gregory Peck walked up to me, and I said, well, he says, yeah. I said, yeah, I know who you are, You're Gregory Peck. I said, my mother would die if she was here, and he told me how they watched my solo at the Forum when we did 6 nights at the Forum with Rod in L.A., and that's 20,000 seats, every night. And he said, when you did your solo, Fred turned to me and said, this is the best drum solo that he saw since Gene Krupa. Gene Krupa was my idol. So to me, that was like, oh my God, Fred Astaire said that about me. And then I'm thinking, Gregory Peck's telling you this, I was like pinching myself, So then we got talking. He said that Fred played drums. He didn't know how to. He would love to learn how to play rock drums like you play. And I said, well, I have a book, So I gave him the book. Anyway, that book is the 50th anniversary next year. And next year, Modern Drummer is going to do the front cover of the magazine. Not me. My book is going to be the cover, And all the guys that went through it. There's all these guys that went through the book that have became famous, like Joey Jorgensen, who played with Slipknot, went through my book. Dave Weckl, Greg Bissonette, even Andrew Dice Clay went through my book. He's a drummer. So that's a big deal. Plus a big another magazine that Modern Drummer puts out called Legends. It's going to be covering me because next year is the 55th anniversary of my career.
Yeah, that is incredible. Well, again, Carmine, it's been great speaking with you, and I'm excited for the new Guitar Zeus album here, the bundle, and hopefully I could speak with you again sometime. It's always great.
Hey, this is great talking to you this early in the morning. Now I'm going to go get my breakfast.
All right, sounds good, Carmine. Thanks again. I appreciate it.
Okay, bro. See you. Bye-bye. Right.
And again, that was drummer Carmine Appice, and the 25th anniversary edition of his Guitar Zeus album is available now.